If you have an online form for hair extensions, it's probably not working the way that you want it to. So we're going to break it all down today. Welcome back to the Rich Stylist Podcast. I'm Ashley Diana here with Alex.
Hey, everyone.
Co-founder of Rich Stylist Academy. We're going to talk about forms because a lot of times consultation form and inquiry form get thrown around, and we find that sometimes people are putting like a consultation form out to the public, which is a no-no.
Yeah, this is like having a really great storefront, but not having a door. Meaning that like you're actually making it really hard for people to do business with you, and really hard for people to actually get in with you. So let's just break this down really, really quick. There's a big difference between what we call, and we've had to like label these things just to avoid confusion, because the three things you're going to hear are like consultation form, inquiry form, and application form. Okay, so let's just call it as it is right now. There's an inquiry form. I call it an inquiry form. An inquiry form is only there to, in marketing, you'd call it capture the lead, okay? The only purpose of that is to be able to capture the person's information and decide whether they are going to turn into a potential client or not, okay? So I'm going to say that again. The inquiry form.
Or application form. You may use either.
You may call it an application form because you're like applying for extensions with you.
Yes,
so
I think more people call it that.
Yeah.
So just so you know, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, so like inquiry form, application form. And actually, I saw the pattern of application form, but, because the word application gets used in hair extensions as well, that's why I kind of shifted our language to inquiry form over time, because like.
Also, people feel like when you're applying, there needs to be a lot more you're supposed to be asking.
Yeah. Yeah, an inquiry form is like, I'm inquiring about extensions with you, like,
yes,
and I would like information on what that would look like.
And that is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, so this is like the first step. This is the big thing we teach in Rich Stylist Academy, but this is something that just about everyone screws up. Literally, like everyone screws up. I've seen hundreds of forms and reviewed hundreds of Instagrams, probably close to thousands actually at this stage. And the inquiry form is really, really simple. Most styles are overcomplicating it. So I'm just going to tell you exactly what needs to be on that form, or just a few of the things that needs to be on that form, because I don't have a form right in front of me. But here's what needs to be on there. Actually, I'm going to start with this. I'm going to tell you what doesn't need to be on there.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'll tell you what doesn't need to be on there.
There's a lot of stuff that don't need to be on.
Yeah. So if you have a quote unquote inquiry form and it says things like, how long is your hair right now? How long do you want your hair to be? And then you've got like 5 different buttons where it says 16 inches, 18 inches, 20 inches, 22 inches. It's ridiculous. None of that needs to be on there. Other things
because
like...
that's for the consultation.
That's for the consultation, right? So this is just, if I could summarize this whole thing, there are certain things that need to be on an inquiry form and certain things that need to be on a consultation form. A consultation form is internal.
Exactly.
People basically never ever see a consultation form unless you send a version to them before they come in for efficiency's sake, although I still don't recommend that. So a consultation form is an internal form, an inquiry form is an external form, meaning people see it, people are directed to it, you tell people to fill it in.
Yes.
Okay? So that's really, really important. Only a client or a prospective client would fill out a consultation form. An inquiry form is something that everyone would fill in, and that is the starting point.
And also that anyone can see.
Anyone can see as well,
yes.
Okay? So you don't need all the information about their lifestyle, about what they've done in the past, about
the texture of their hair.
Texture of their hair. You don't need any of that. You don't need any of that.
Because, again, they're not the expert.
Yeah, they don't.
That's not for them.
They don't know.
To tell
they
you.
might describe their hair as coarse, and really, you wouldn't call it coarse.
You'd be like,
so it's all this subjective information.
Exactly.
That's why it doesn't matter. Okay, and in the world of marketing, the more fields, meaning the more things to complete on a form that you have, the lower in marketing we call it the opt-in rate, meaning the percentage of people that actually complete the form. The completion rate goes way down the more stuff you have on there. Okay,
so the shorter the better.
The shorter the better. And so here's just the essentials. All you need. You need name, email, phone number, and Instagram. I like asking for the Instagram profile of the person so that, like, quite honestly, let's just be real. You can stalk them. You can check them out. You can see what kind of lifestyle, what kind of client, what kind of hair they have, all that kind of stuff. You can actually check out the person and the personality. That's totally fine and reasonable to be able to do. So the basic information of how you would actually get in touch with someone. Here's all you need to know on top of that. 1, have you had hair extensions before? Okay, that's just a really easy yes or no question to ask, and it gives you an idea of their expectation and perception of hair extensions. We have a really advanced form that we literally give you through Rich Stylist Academy where we show you how to do this on other platforms, but we also have our own platform called Hair Pro 360 where if they were to say yes to that, it would then show a new field that says, what extensions, what's your experience with them? The other thing that I hate on really amateur forms, things like Google Forms and Jot Forms and all that kind of stuff, is they've got all these fields in there where it says, if yes, please share here. I hate that because it makes the form look a lot longer than it needs to be. So I'm a big fan of what's called conditional logic, and conditional logic just makes it so if they answer yes to this, it shows or hides another question. Okay, so that's really important. The first one being, have you had hair extensions before? If they say yes, describe them basically.
Sure.
The other ones would be, please upload photos of your current hair and please upload photos of your desired look. Here's what people screw up with this. They make those fields required. So your form software will not let that person fill out that form unless they upload those photos. That is the dumbest thing ever. To you, it makes sense, right? Because you don't want them to fill out a form unless you get photos of their stuff. But the chances that someone has right there at the top of their camera roll a great photo of their hair and a great photo of their desired outcome are extremely unlikely. So I have those fields on there anyway because I think that's really good to do. But I don't make them required in the form software. This is really, really important.
Very important.
I also put a note, and again, you can get our best form straight away if you just have Hair Pro 360 and you're in Rich Stylist. But there's also a note underneath those fields that say, if you don't have these available, you can send them later.
Yes.
It's really, really important. So someone can just fill this in.
It doesn't stop them in the process.
It doesn't stop them. You just got to get them going. I just need to fill this out because
get them to submit.
You're only trying to capture their information so you can decide whether or not you want to take them on as a client and if you can actually help them.
Or take them on as a consultation.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Yes.
We're not talking client yet. It's just consultation. Mm-hmm. So you've got that. There's a few others in there, but the only other really key one would be this. And that is your price range. And so I'm paraphrasing here, but the sentence sounds something like, are you aware that that the investment for hair extensions range from blank to blank? Okay, so that might be...
I'll also add what I typically do to even keep that price range even more narrow, depending on if you do lots of, varieties and such, is are you aware that a full lengthening service...
Yeah.
You can either say with your name,
Yep.
with this person, or with this particular brand, if
Yep.
you say you only focus on one brand, or you can just say hair extensions,
Yeah.
but range from this to this. That way, if someone is, again, for example, if someone is reaching out and they want the size of their hair filled in,
Yep.
It says a full head lengthening service ranges from this to this. So if they see that and go, oh, well, I'm probably don't need a full head lengthening, it's probably a bit less than that.
Yeah.
If they've seen that kind of work on your page.
It's a reasonable assumption at that stage.
It's a reasonable assumption. I have at one point, I had two price ranges.
Yeah.
Volume, I worded it a certain way, but we can talk about that inside the group. But volume sets range from this to this. Full head lengthenings range from this to this. Because like we mentioned on a previous podcast, the last thing you want to do is sort of include a volume set or a fill-in with the longest length full head that you
Extensions range from $500 to $5,000.
Yeah, exactly. And I was speaking with a stylist about this recently, and I was like, you cannot say that.
No.
Because that person is so confused
It's
reading
ridiculous.
it. It's a ridiculous
It makes
price
no
range.
sense.
Yes. So it has to be a little bit honed in.
Yep.
It could be, $1,500 to $3,500.
That's totally fine.
It could be $2,000 to $5,000.
Yep.
Because it's still that person reading it is still that's their kind of target window.
Yeah.
They know it's going to be a couple thousand.
Yep.
So a couple thousand more. Okay. It's still within a couple $1,000 window. If you want to, you could also put an average head is this, which is right in the middle. Mm-hmm. Now, someone could come to that conclusion themselves.
Sure.
But
everyone thinks they're... Here's the thing. With the price range, everyone thinks they're at the lower end of it.
Yeah, they always think they're the average or the lower end, especially if they're like, oh, well, my hair's short. And it's like, yeah, so that means you're going to be at the upper end if you're wanting longer hair.
Yeah.
So, but nonetheless, I do think a price range is absolutely essential.
Yeah.
And it saves your time, it saves their time. So yes, a price range and put for a full head lengthening service.
Yes.
for that range.
Yeah. So here's the thing with that as well, Ninja Rich Stylist stuff that we're just sharing here on the podcast, is that the answers to those that you already have pre-written, right? So it's not a fill in the blank. These are what's called a radio select button, meaning you can choose A, B, or C. The first option is, yes, I'm aware of this investment. Okay? Yes, I'm aware of this investment. That's the first thing they can select. The second thing that they can select is, yes, and I'm interested in exploring financing options. Okay? And so we have a partner inside of Rich Stylist Academy where you, as the extensionist, can literally offer financing for your hair extension services, and you get paid in full then and there on the spot, multiple thousands.
I actually just had, there was a person in the group just posted as we were recording this podcast, and I'm going to read it because it said that. Hang on, let me find.
Ashley's pulling it up on her phone. But
I'm pulling it up on my phone right now.
It's a financing partner that we have inside of Rich Stylist Academy that you can use and sign up to. It's completely free. It's amazing. Stylists inside of Rich Stylist make thousands and thousands through this.
So check this out. It says, I know I just shared a big win yesterday of a new high-ticket extension client booking, and this person already paid in full thanks to financing. So there you go.
Amazing.
They got paid in full, and the client was able to do the payment plan option. And then she also said, but I also wanted to share that I have a new client consult this Tuesday. And as I was watching some of the new video trainings inside the group, another new extension inquiry came through just now. She said, I'm feeling very, very high vibe since the Las Vegas soiree.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Amazing.
Anyway, but it just came in, and I saw it as it popped up saying, the financing worked and I got all the money.
Yeah.
So it's great.
So the mistake I see people make is like they say, I mean, the amateur forms I've seen says, do you know that extensions cost, $1,000 to $5,000, right? Like this crazy price range that makes no sense. And then it just says yes or no. And so it's not yes or no. There's three options. It's yes, I'm aware of the investment. Yes, and I'd like to explore financing options. Or no, I was not aware of the investment. Or no, I had no idea is usually what we say. And so when they select no, that doesn't mean that you're not going to take them on as a client already. It just means that they're a little uneducated, right? And that's totally fine.
Yeah, it actually doesn't mean...
It doesn't mean that you need to write them off and not take them on at all. It's just that there might be a little more education.
Well, they may have
happen.
just found out.
Totally.
No, I wasn't aware, but now I know.
Yeah, exactly.
You told them. You actually educated them.
Yeah. So just know as well that doesn't mean... One, that doesn't mean that they don't have the money. Two, that doesn't mean that they're not going to do it. It's not what that means at all. It just changes the way that you're going to come back at them and discuss pricing and investment with them. Okay? So that's all it's there for. So that's a really critical piece of information. Now, that's about it.
That's really about it.
That's all you need, okay? Everything else around what's your hair density, your length, your lifestyle, all that kind of stuff, none of that matters for the inquiry, okay? Because, and here's the filter, right? If you're deciding whether or not a question needs to go on the inquiry form or not, here's the filter that you filter it through. Would this question determine or influence me potentially taking on this person as a client? Okay? If it doesn't, or it's irrelevant to that decision, it doesn't need to be on that form. The purpose of that form is to capture their information as quickly and as efficiently as possible, and then follow up with them from that, okay? And now you've got information about them.
You can follow up with them with more specific questions if needed, even via email before they come in for a consultation.
100%. Yeah, because you can give them more information about all of that.
You can ask for more photos, perhaps, whatever you need.
Yeah, 100%. I think the other question that we do ask there is what are you looking to achieve with hair extensions, right? Or what's your goal with hair extensions? And that's just a way that they can give some general information about what they're going for or their background. But you're not asking about what's gone wrong in the past or anything like that. It's got to be quick. It's got to be short. Again, like we literally give this to you, but in coaching and telling people this, I've seen people screw it up, or they get into a form software and they think, this is amazing. Look at all the information I can look at all the information I could capture from this.
It is kind of fun.
It is really fun. But before you know it, you've built out a freaking 20 questions thing.
Yeah.
And then you wonder why people don't fill it out.
They don't have time.
They don't have time. They're on to the next thing. They're getting distracted.
They got a notification halfway through your form, and 100%. Then they went to squirrel brain and do what happened next.
Yeah. So the big things there, again, are like the things I see screwed up are the image upload things, you make them required, meaning that they can't complete the form without uploading those images. Insane. So silly to do. And so that's all the information that you need. Okay. Yep. That is literally all the info. Now, a consultation form, which I'm not going to go into on this, we're big fans of digital consultation
forms. That is a lot more detailed.
That's way more detailed.
You need to know everything about their
everything.
hair.
There's like 30, 40 questions on a consultation. We've got those forms inside of Rich Stylist, but if you could just get this one thing right, you would see more people inquiring about hair extensions with you. And the great thing here is that this is now your big metric, okay? Like as a marketer, you need to know how many leads, how many inquiries, and I ask these questions all the time, how many inquiries did you get? Because here's what's not an inquiry. Hey, I'm interested in hair extensions, an Instagram DM.
Yeah.
That is not an inquiry. That is a message, right? That is a conversation, a comment, right? Those are not inquiries. An inquiry is that that potential client has taken the time to give you some information. They are an inquiry at that point, and you could make moves based on those inquiries. Okay, so if we were consulting right now and you're on a call about Rich Stylist Academy, even before joining, I would be looking at these numbers. How many inquiries did you get? How many of those inquiries turned into paid clients?
Yes.
And how many of those consultations did you close? That's how we know what areas of support you need. Because if you don't have a lot of inquiries coming in, you have a marketing problem. But if you have a lot of inquiries but not a lot of consultations that turn into clients, you have a consultation problem.
Exactly.
Right? So we got to isolate the problem here, and having a definitive point that everyone needs to go to is the key there, and that is the inquiry form. Yep. That's the secret sauce, and that's one of the most important starting points in having a bigger and better hair extension business.
Comment on my latest post on my Instagram at Miss Ashley Hair and let me know if more of these types of conversations are valuable and helpful for your business. And we will see you on the next episode.